Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today we are going to try to attempt to make a map for my book series, The Archives of BFF, and let's just see how that goes. But I want to vlog the process and hopefully I finish it soon. I don't want to take too much time on it. I was watching a movie yesterday and idea just kind of came to me, so we're going to try and get this put together. I already got started with 2 of the locations inside of the BFF house, and we're going to see how that goes. So yeah, so I've been working on the map and so far it's going decent. I will admit that it is not, I'm not going to do it in color. There's just no way I'm going to be able to do that. I could, I just don't want to. It's because kind of a lot of it is actually black and white anyways, and I think it's just be a waste of time to do the coloring, because honestly, if I was to like explain how the house looks, it looks very bland anyways, so there's no color. It's actually, the lights are barely on throughout the house, so adding color would just be like honestly a waste of time, energy, and just be unnecessary. But so far we have gotten the, oh great, the AC's on. So far we have the living room, the kitchen, the dining room, the hidden hallway, well, one of the hidden hallways, at least the garage, and then the trophy room, which I kind of redid the trophy room a little bit. Just, I don't know, like I kind of don't know how to like draw awards and like what are awards. Like I have this, like I have some awards, but like I don't know, I really don't know what awards to really draw, so I just kind of just drew some like little houses. And now we have to kind of just do one. I'm trying to debate if I want to do the garage, because I don't want to draw cars and I don't want to. And then there's the other hallway, which is just dance rooms, which those are like super easy. But there's the recording studios I have to draw and all that. The one thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to draw upstairs, because it's not necessary. While I draw these very tedious artworks, because this map is a process for, I guess I could talk about what is I'm drawing, right? So what I'm drawing is each of the rooms of pretty much of the BFF house. This is the house that for a good chunk of the story, the setting is for my web novel and for my chapter books, link in the bio. And it's kind of tedious. It's the BFF house, a mansion essentially. It's a really old mansion. It's like a 1920s mansion. I always call it like a Great Gatsby kind of house, but it also isn't really. Kind of like makeshifts. It's almost a little DIY. It's like they just kept expanding it more and more. And right now, the most tedious part is really the hallways. I thought I was almost done, but I'm really not. The good news is I already have some backgrounds already finished. I just had to render it, but there is other rooms that I need to get done. Just finished the second polar. I guess I'll just talk about what I actually drew. So the first thing that I worked on was the living room. So the living room is probably where most of the things happen. Like that's like the common ground, because it's the only upstairs. Like I know, like in the, well, we're only talking about this, but the Cosby Show, they have their set is set up where there's 2 stairs, so people can maneuver from the upstairs to the downstairs of the townhouse, from the living room and then from the kitchen. For this house, there's just 1 stair, and that's in the living room. So the front door and all that. You have the laundry room, you have going upstairs, and then you have going to the kitchen. So gonna have arrows going to the kitchen and arrows going to the hallways. There's 2 hallways from the living room, and either it's going to where all the commons are, so your recording studios, your dance studios, your lounges, and then you have the hidden one, which is to the garage where everyone keeps their cars. But there's also the trophy room. Now the trophy room was not my greatest, I'm not gonna lie. It's more complicated, so each stand actually has its own trophies, but in this drawing I did not draw that. I just put a plaque instead, but it really is supposed to be trophies. But it makes sense. I just made cabinets, and some people, you might be questioning like, oh, how are you able to do perspective art? And my thing is, I don't know. I just know. I guess I did a lot of art. And I took a lot of art classes throughout K through 12, and I think over time you just learn perspective. The best way to learn it actually would be just play around on like Blender, or even just actually geometry. That's where I learned it. I learned perspective art in geometry class in 10th grade. I took honors geometry, and we had to learn shapes really well. And one thing that I learned from geometry class, and even just classes I took where you had to learn geometry, so shapes, is everything is just cubes. Everything you draw are just shapes. So like think of like Blue's Clues. So you know Blue's Clues? Oh no, that makes you going. So you know Blue's Clues? So in Blue's Clues, when he's drawn in the notebook, he starts off with a shape and then he adds a shape and another shape. So when I drew these cabinets, I just drew a shape, a rectangle, so a rectangular prism, and then I drew like a thinner rectangular prism. Best way to practice is just draw a whole bunch of cubes. So yeah, that's what I did here, and I think it came out pretty good. Each section has its own cabinet and where all their awards are, and then there's the group awards. Now, for the most part, this room is actually very empty. It wasn't until like I think a couple of years after the group debuted that they actually started winning awards. But once they started winning awards, they definitely started winning. So this room gets pretty filled up. You're looking at this from the perspective of 2022, so the chapter books. So all these maps are the 2022 house edition. So throughout the web novels, you'll see that some rooms don't even exist yet, like the hidden hallway, which I will get into. I haven't even drawn it yet, but when I draw it, get into it. Some parts aren't even drawn, some places don't even exist earlier in the web novels. But we're looking this from, this is a map for the chapter books, so this is after like the dates of the web novel. Next! So next is the kitchen. The kitchen was good. I thought the kitchen was the easiest one. It makes sense to me, honestly, because there's 34 people who live in this house. No, not 34. Yes, at a point in time there was 34 people living in this house. I think from 2013 to 2020, from 2020, I think 2020 or 2021. So during that time, there was 34 people altogether living in this house. The kitchen is, honestly, if you look at it, you think it's tiny and small. It's actually practical. It's just a kitchen. It's nothing crazy. It's nothing too fancy. It's not like a Kim Kardashian kitchen where it's like it's a regular kitchen, honestly. And I mean, we got a decent sized fridge. They have a really big pantry. I did not draw the pantry. I don't think it's necessary. I might put a label, we'll see. The pantry is so unnecessary to draw because like it's complicated. Again, this is a pantry for 34 people ish, because there's even some of the members end up having kids, so I guess there's even more, except for the kids don't live there. If a member has a kid, they moved out. That's one thing I will point out. So this one's pretty fun. They got like a 5-burner stove, like pretty fancy, I guess. They got the sink. I thought about putting stools. I don't think there's stools, but it'd be kind of cool to have stools, but realistically no one sits at the stools, so I didn't add it. So, and then there's the very tiny breakfast table. People do sit there. There is some web novel entries with that, especially the second book. Actually, no, third book. Again, fourth book. No, it's either or. I don't know. I think it's the fourth book. Fourth book I don't have out. I don't even have the second book out, but I already know everything because everything written. But fourth book, this actually comes up a lot, that breakfast table. So yeah. And so from here it takes you outside. I have not drawn outside, but it takes you to the dining room. So we'll go into the dining room. The dining room was probably the most complicated one. Again, 34 seats for the most part. I think it's 34 seats, yeah. This actually is a very common place where people eat at in the beginning of the series. So like you're talking web novels, it kind of becomes almost like, oh, that exists a little bit later because people are very independent later on in the series. But this used to be like this will be used mainly for dinner, and again because they're cooking, usually eat like a lot of soups or pastas or something you can cook in bulks, maybe hamburgers and stuff, just like bulk food because it's just them. So you eat a lot of like Olive Garden, a lot of catering. And this is the room. They'll have like meetings. I think, yes, meetings happen here. So a meeting might happen here. Either happens here or in the living room. I get it. I draw the living room really small looking. However, because the living room looks small, they all still fit. Some of them just sit on the ground or they sit on the stairs. But the dining room or the dining hall is where most people sit. And I had some little details, like someone threw some shoes on the chandeliers. There's also the mural that's on the ceiling. I am not showing the mural, but it's explained what the mural is in one of the entries. I think it's Maknae meets BFF Part 2. Is it? I have no idea. I think that's the title. Yes. No, yes, it's Part 2. So that's in the 2011 web novels parts. So yeah, if you're curious on what the mural is, it's explained in there. It's about Revelations. Spoiler alert. Anyways, so that one was pretty easy. The perspective art on this one was kind of complicated. I drew this while watching Hurricane Season. That was a good movie. And I drew it while watching that with my family, and it was good. I think that this one though is a little complicated with the seating, but overall easy. Again, pro tip to redrawing this without like any references is one, if you know what a table looks like, it's easy to draw a table. If you know what a chair looks like, then it's pretty easy to draw a table. I mean, a chair. If you know what a chair looks like, I drew the chair. The chair was pretty. I'd also just copy paste a lot of them. You draw one chair, you draw the rest. You copy and paste. And again, it's just shapes. The chandelier was a bit complicated. I didn't know what a chandelier looked like, and I have no interest of looking how it looked up, because I want to be as creative as possible. I don't want to rely too much on references. Also, I kind of already have an image in my head of what it already looks like. Actually, I don't even know the chandeliers, but I thought it would look good in the picture. And biggest pro tip about perspective is that it's all about how close something is and how far something is. So if something's far in the setting, then it's going to be further in the back. So yeah. Next! In the next one, we have the hallways. The hallways is where I'm at right now in drawing. This is easy and hard. It's fine. There's a bookshelf. Oh no. I draw it out. I could add it. Anyways, there's the hallway. This is where all the stuff is. So this is where when you're reading my web novel, when you're reading my chapter books, there's the hallway. The hallway is where literally everyone is usually at. They're either in one of these rooms or in their room upstairs. Again, I am not going to draw the rooms because they're all copycat rooms. It literally doesn't matter. It does matter where who stays next to who. That does matter, and I'll put a label, maybe like a hover if I know how to, but it isn't important. So yeah, for this part, I guess I'll start with my left side. We're gonna start with the dance room A, or practice room A. So the group practices a lot, and it's also a very common place that I use for practice. And I didn't have to draw much. Actually, I don't think I showed it myself recording it, but it's this one right here. I already have this like drawn. Like I had this drawn already, so I already had it. So there's nothing to draw about. But in this room, this is mainly where the girls practice. They get the smaller room, not for any particular reason. It's just they just get the smaller room. It's technically their own room actually, because there's practice room B. I guess I can go to that one. That's on the right side. Practice room B, which is pretty bland. It's this. Again, I already had it drawn. Oops. Let me get into Grasky. Text messages from Reddit. This right here, it'll focus. Yeah. Anyways, this is where the guys practice. It's also where the group practice. So if there's group practice, it's gonna be in the practice room B. That's the bigger one. Practice room A is the smaller one. That's for the girlies. And then practice room B is for the guys, or for practice, just general practice. So let's say JV girls have practice, they're realistically gonna have their dance partners, so that's also going to be rap line. JV got a rap line, dual line, and then a few people from varsity guys. So they will practice there. Varsity girls, that's just their room. Okay. Rarely, sometimes if it's like a solo practice, they'll go in there, or if it's a free day, some members might go into practice room A to go practice or hang out. But traditionally, everyone is in practice B. And then, so because of that, Lisa, she's one of the leaders, she leads practice for guys, Zan leads practice for girls. Next! The next thing we have is the recording studios. Okay. This one was kind of hard, I'm not even gonna lie. It's not hard, because I already had like references, but the perspective art on this one was a little bit more complicated because there's the initial room and then there's the recording studio. So you might be like, why do they have three? Because I'm about to explain it. There is three. There's three recording studios, each with their own purpose. So the first one that I am looking at is this one right here. You can't see it probably, but I gotta check my map. I'm not an architecture but I have to check it. So this is recording studio A. This is mainly where Rapline does their music. That's where they make a lot of their music. That's where they write a lot of their songs. It's usually there. Was it agreed upon by the group that it's their recording studio? No. But do they always hog up that room? Yes, therefore. So this one is usually where Rapline is. If you read the first book, I mean, it's not spoiler, but Rapline is usually the ones who produce a lot of, not produce, but write a lot of the songs. They do a lot of the songwriting, and they're the ones who usually have the most solo work, kinda, because they don't really function as a group as far as it comes to performing. They usually have leads, or they'll take turn on leads, or they will do their own thing as a feature, because they do a lot of features and they do a lot of ghostwriting for other people to make extra cash. So this is the room where a lot of the magic happens. It's usually a hot mess. I cleaned it up. But it's really, it's actually the most productive studio out of all of them, because there's usually someone always in there working on something. So this is recording studio A. Next is recording studio B. They get bigger, quite actually, something that I already had. It was already an asset that I already drew, so I was not going to redraw it. I don't like the halftones that are spread around it, but I'll take it. Recording studio B is where like you have your mainly varsity line. They're probably the ones in here. So varsity guys or varsity girls, they're usually recording here. As you can see, there's 2 booths. One booth is for the lead, so we're talking 2022 time. Lead is Samantha and Cameron, so for girls, and then for guys, it's Romeo and Jeremy. Again, you can read it in any order. It just depends on how you can either start with the chapter books. Actually, I recommend you start with chapter books and then go into the novels. But you can read the red novels. Again, free to read, link in bio. So we're talking 2022, so those guys will usually be the ones in the smaller studio, and then in the bigger ones where the rest of the group would be. This is where recording happens for mainly varsity line, but JV line may do a song in here, and then duo, they will be in here sometimes. It just depends. I also realized I didn't draw a chair in this room, but there's a chair. Next on the list is going to be recording studio C, which again, I already had the assets. I just had to draw out some of the characters. I didn't want to redraw this. That wasn't necessary. This is for groups. I don't know why there's just one microphone in here, but usually this is for groups or for solos or for bigger personal projects. This is your recording studio. This is actually one of the first ones actually put in the house. It's nice, it's chill. You can see that they got their diamond plaques on the wall because a lot of their songs went diamond. So things are cool in here. This is again a little complicated because I am drawing out the characters so I can put in here. This studio is where all the hits are kind of made. So yeah, now you know how it looks. Which is one thing I'm really glad. I'm still debating on it, but I might start referencing rooms as like recording studio A, B, C, and then you're just gonna have to go on the website. When you're on the website, you're gonna have to just go through the map and find where these rooms are. Because I just say recording studio, but we'll see. We'll see. So yeah. Next one that I have drawn will be the Polar Room. The Polar Room is probably the best one of them all. And I gotta draw the bookshelf apparently, so I have to add that in really quickly. Nothing hard about drawing a bookshelf. It's just a bookshelf. But as I explain to y'all what the Polar Room is, then yeah. For context, you might be like, what's a Polar Room? Or maybe you already know what that is. Good for you, because I didn't. A Polar Room. I actually learned this word from a book I read in elementary school called The Doll People, which is like Toy Story in my opinion. But they always mention a polar room. And a polar room, I'm pretty sure I'm saying that wrong, but a polar room is essentially a living room with no TV, I think. So there is about 2 of them. There's 2 of them in the house, not including the hidden lounge. I think that's just a lounge. I don't think they consider it a polar. And again, this is like a mansion, so of course they're gonna have these kind of rooms in there. This one has the piano, so if you ever read a chapter, actually there's a chapter, in the first book, there's a chapter or a short story, whatever you want to say it, or an archive, where Jeremy's is like playing on the piano. He's one of the guys from Varsity Line, and he's playing the piano, and Jean comes in all upset and depressed, some camera drama. Anyways, one of the characters. They are in the Polar Room. They're in that room. That's where that is, and that is near the recording studios. Yeah, so it's pretty chill. I don't really have like much to say about these rooms. I will say though, it This room does kind of come up from time to time. It's pretty popular because in the beginning of the web novel, because this room exists. So there is the right wing. I keep saying it's the left wing, like the left. Yeah, there's the left wing, but there's also there's another wing that doesn't get added till later, and that's where the other Polaroid room comes in. Honestly, this is gonna have to be a part 2. I didn't want to do that, but I'm gonna have to make it a part 2 because this will be a very long video. I don't want to just post a 40-minute to a 2-hour video on YouTube explaining how to make this map process. But so far we got the initial parts done. In the next video we're going to draw the rest of downstairs and then color everything because I need to color everything. But so far everything is pretty chill as far as the map goes. You might be like, how am I going to make this interactive? The idea is to use this, and I'm gonna try to finesse Wix and make a whole bunch of arrows and a lot of sites, and then through those sites I will be able to, yeah, you'll be able to click through. That's the idea. If it doesn't work, then it's fine. I'll just add then I'll just show the pictures. And yeah, but I think I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be able to do it. Now would I love to just go on Unreal Engine and pretty much like put that joint in there and you can just click around? Yes. There is also another option that I did work on, and that is my Blender. I did a 3D model of the living room and the kitchen on Blender. It looks good. The only problem is I can't export it. My computer is not strong enough apparently to export Blender. It can, and it did export. I did a video of a camera zooming through. The only problem is that it took 2-3 days to export it. Like, I think it was like a 15-second clip, and I exported it to a folder that doesn't exist. So I'm not doing that again. There is also the Sims version. I did do on the Sims. I kind of previewed it a little bit early in the video. The problem is I don't have that file to that house anymore. I don't know where it is. And I also don't have Sims on my computer. I did it a year ago, and it's fine. I also ran into a very interesting problem on The Sims, and that problem was I genuinely don't think that The Sims had enough square footage for me to work on it. There just wasn't enough. There wasn't enough square footage for me to literally put in bathrooms. There just wasn't any room. I would start, especially upstairs. That's why I'm a little hesitant to do upstairs, because, or even just anywhere in the house. Again, I'm not gonna show you where the bathrooms are. I mean, I could. I just really know. I don't know. It's really not important, but I guess it is because it's the house. Yes, there is bathrooms. However, I don't know how to put in a bathroom into a room and put windows, because how I have it set up, so you know how you like enter a room and the back of the room there's a bathroom, or on the side of the room there's a bathroom, except for I just kept running out of room to put these bathrooms in because there's like all these rooms. And upstairs I think there's like, I don't even know, I think there's 30 rooms, and there just wasn't enough room. I used the biggest lot possible on The Sims and I still couldn't achieve it. So yeah, also I only have the free version of Sims. I don't have like all the extra DLCs, so I was very limited in like furniture, and yeah, so pretty much that's what we're stuck with right now. Overall, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe, and then in the next video, or in the upcoming videos at least, we'll see how much work I can get and accomplish with these maps. See you in the next one.